Hello. Hello. Blah. Blah, blah. Blah. Look, sometimes you just need, like,
Did you see it?
you need to yawn, but when the weight of the world is on you and you can't like do it is what it is anymore, sometimes you just gotta you gotta take that yawn and take it for all it's worth and try and hide the internal screaming within the yawn. Feels good. You should give it a try. Maybe not scream out into the world, but you know, just be like, ah, I wonder what this does. My god, part of me wants to be more sleepy than normal. Same. Yep, same. Alrighty. Yeah. Yeah. Man, the temptation to be like sitting on this screen forevers. Like, not even present myself until I pick a video game or any of that kind of nonsense. Scratching the top of my head. Maybe I do need like a different way of checking my hands, since way too often, like, I'm not doing things with my hands in front of me very often. I'm doing things with my hands like on my side, too close to the chest, or on top of my head. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's where the realm of my hand tracking needs to go, is it needs to deal with the top of my head and everything. Yeah, I can't stay here forevers. I'm gonna have to go over here, I suppose. Hello. Hi there, Sky. Hi there, Bookie. So Sky was the first here. Welcome, welcome. Honestly thought it was gonna be like Sir Dragon or someone, but you know, it's Monday. Maybe no one wants to see the evening stream because everyone's like, ow. Ow! It's in my ear! Also, it like has a bit of a weird effect when you... Look at that. Do you see the effect it has? Like, it almost looks like it's, you know, in here. Looks like it's almost see-through when you do that. I might need to fix that. Hi there, it is Zach. Ignore the knife. It's from me with love. It is not with love. How dare you always want to see you, but fucking time zones. Yeah. Fucking time zones, I know. I know. I know. It's one of those fun cases where, like, there is no popularity to me to Australians, I feel like. I feel like Australians just don't like this accent. They don't like the zebra. There's something the Australians don't like or something or rather, but the Americans, the Europeans, oh, they absolutely fucking love me. It's incredible. And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing to deserve such praise. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know what does it. I don't know what gets people riled up and like, yes, himbo zebra. I wish I had the energy once again. I really do. It is what it is. Hi there, Dekus. Welcome to the stream. Weren't you streaming just a little while ago, or was I not paying attention to that? Hang on a second. Excuse me, throat. Okay, it doesn't look like you are streaming. Huh, I thought you were. Shame, I thought you were. You was playing a game and you made a new emote. Nice! I have made no such emotes. I tried being productive. Actually, excuse me. I tried being, productive, like, back on... Like, I'm trying to think of, like, so Friday, I think, was the one where, like, you know, I just was feeling absolutely miserable and shit because I tried having a massage and the massage didn't feel right and everything like that. I think the tism meshes well together and that's what has me coming back, I think. Nice! Maybe that's it. Maybe Australians are just, like, phobic to autism and shit. Oh, hey, that's a cool one. That's a good lol. I like how it switches between the two. But, like, the silhouette is relatively the same. It's still, like, you know, big orb with, like, things going on it. That's actually... I like that. That's kind of cool. I don't have anything like that. So, I come back because you're silly and I like your energies. Thank you. But, yeah, where was I in my train of thought? Oh, yeah. So, remember how Friday, like, I went for a massage? So, the reason why the massage hurts is because it was what was called a remedial massage. It's, like, the only one where that one from the masseuse is, like, actually, you know, taken care of by health insurance and shit like that. So what's happening with that one is that instead of it being like a nice sort of soft tissue kind of, like, you know, just sort of, you know, like your partner giving you a massage. Cookie for Bookie. Here's your cookie, Bookie. So rather than giving you like a nice soft massage in the shoulders and just being like, that's like just being like nice and soft, just, you know, getting the skin in, like, you know, thingy, and then just, you know, being like, oh, let's see, does anything crack? And it's just like, nope, nothing cracks. You're all good, and just like a little bit of pressing here and there. Remedial massages are not that. Remedial massages are right. You must have knots in your back. We are going to squeeze it out of you. We are going to... It's like we're going to reset every muscle in your body. Do not tense up. It's going to hurt. And then they do it. And before you know it, you've got like this 5 foot... You got this 5 foot Thai lady, like, on all fours, just like pressing into your back and into your shins with her knees, and her hands is on your back, and you're just tensed up the entire time because you're just sort of like, oh god, I need to, like, you know, not collapse. They go in there and really work your muscles. My guess is you had a lot of tension and they had to work through, but after a few days, that's when you feel better. Yes, that is what it is. But Tsubishi told me how you pay taxes twice. That is not slay. I don't have to pay taxes twice, alright, so explicitly speaking, I don't have to pay taxes twice, but I have to declare my taxes twice, so hang on a second, which actually reminds me, I have not done my taxes, so, because here's the problem, I have to declare my taxes to the United States for both my Twitch and the fact that I have a foreign income, but I don't pay any tax to the United States. I don't earn enough from this thing to warrant being taxed. And then secondly, because I'm earning a foreign income, I declare that I've already paid taxes on that income. So when the US government looks at it, they're like, oh, okay, well, you don't owe us any federal tax. And because I don't live in a state in the United States, I don't pay any state tax. So IRS. I need to go to the IRS, and I need to have a look at filing my taxes for free. Direct file online for free directly with the IRS is new. Oh, I didn't see this one before. Is a new option for eligible people in 12 pilot states to. Oh, well, I'm not in any of the states. File your taxes directly with the IRS for free. Live in one of the 12 pilot states. I don't live in any of those. You have a simple tax filing need and report certain types of income, credits, and deductions. I'm gonna click on it and see what happens. Direct file is only available. Click on the state to see it might be right for you. If you live in a state not listed here, the District of Columbia, or a U.S. territory, direct file won't support your tax needs. Other options. Okay, so can't do the IRS direct. Find a tax prepper authorized to e-file. Search on an online database for an IRS. Oh my god. Okay, I hate that I have to Google. We went for Subway this afternoon. Nice. All right, how do I do this? U.S. file taxes outside of the U.S. Because here's the thing, is that even if I'm abroad, I still have to file an income tax return. So, U.S. citizens and resident aliens abroad. When to file. If you are a U.S. citizen or resident residing on the duty outside the U.S., you get an automatic 2-month extension. Nice. The regular due date of tax return is April 15th, but because of the extended, I have until June 15th. Where to file? Electronic e-file. Taxpayers with an AGI within a specified threshold can electronically thingamajiggy. Free file. Okay, so free file with the thingy. Explore free guided tax software. Find your trusted partner. I am single. I am 30. I live in Australia. Do I receive military pay? No, I do not. Did I earn an income? No, I didn't, is the thing. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. Twitch. Wages, tips, other compensations. That's not the W-2. Self-employed gross income. You're self-employed, you make money on demand work. For more publication and forms of self-employment. Okay, I think... Alright, hang on a sec. Is Twitch self-employment gross income? Self-employment gross income. Hi there, Sir Dragon. We're looking into my taxes. No, I don't need the ATO telling me if it's a taxable income. I know it is. Definitive guide to Form 1099. Okay. So, I will need to do it. Ding. Is the 1099 listed on here? Control F. 1099. No, it is not. I did not earn income. Earned income tax credit. How many dependents? None. No, I do not have an earned income tax credit. Okay, so if I've earned less than 79,000, I go to Taxed Act or I go to the Free USA. All right, which one of these will let me fill in the shit for free and not enter in an American? If your age falls between Alrighty then, let's see. Can I? Oh my. This is the thing that pisses me off. This is the thing that pisses me off. Okay, you ready for this? Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. So, if you are like, you know, if you're in the United States and you have to fill out your taxes and shit, this is what they want you to do to create an account. They want an email address. Totally fine. They want a mobile number, a username, and a password. Here's what they don't tell you. That mobile number cannot be an international number. They want that to be an American mobile number. I don't have an American mobile number. This is fucking useless. You've locked me out. And for what? Security and account recovery purposes? I just gave you my email. What do you mean you need a mobile number for security and password recovery purposes. Is it for 2FA? Because we got software codes for doing that. Absolute fucking bullshit. All right, let's have a look at the free text file of the USA. If I want to create an account, your phone number is only used to help you access your account if you forget your password or if you're signing in from a device you don't recognize. You can choose whether you'd like a verification code to text it or via phone call. We don't use your number for marketing. We only allow United States number. Holy fucking shit. It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right. Give me a second. I need to unlock my 1Password and see. Because here's the thing. Is like, that's the first half. Where we work, we recommend free tax USA. Do you work in Australia? Because that's the... Alright, so if I go with... I'm going to go with the thing. Do not apply a mobile number. Apply a number that is at least that many thingy-majiggies. Oh. Oh, apparently I've signed into this place before. That is not good. Mr. Pickles sat on the... No, shut up, Mr. Pickles. Alright, sign in. Username and password. Sign in. Oh, wait, verification code sent to my email address. Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, so apparently I've used this place before, or I've at least created an account. And they're going to give me... verify code. Did they... Alright, hang on a second. You can you can get a US phone number through Google Voice or other soft phone services. That's if I have a United States credit card. There's some funky nonsense that goes off. And yes, hi Izzy, we're taxing. We're not doing our taxes on Steam, amazingly enough. There was a thing for Steam, wasn't there? We're transferring your information from last year to make things easier. Cool. You have nothing of mine from last year. Current I love how they're like, do you have a second email address? Yes, I do. GrantZeebs. This is hilarious. I have like my legitimate email address, and then I have a secondary email address for GrantZeebs. Save that information. I don't give a shit about my whatsamahoozy. Can you use PayPal on it? I'm not too sure, but let's see how we go. Let's see how we go. Occupation. Apparent. So okay. Dington. All right. What if I have a foreign address? Unfortunately, we do not support customers or prayers who are living outside the United States when they file their taxes, even if they live in a U.S. This is probably why I didn't use the cert. Like, Do you see this bullshit? Why? Fucking ridiculous. So, okay, so we can't use that. We can't use TaxAct because it wants a mobile number. We can't use the free tax USA. Let's see. Online taxes, OLT.com. Can we use OLT.com? Let's have a look. If you do not have a US mobile number, please leave this. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. All right, hang on a second. I might have found a place that will let me do my thing. All right. Ding dong. Save. Create my account. That is my dad. Hang on a second. Hi, Dad. All right. So that was my dad. He wanted to make sure I was alive. I am alive. Thank you so much, Dad. He's I told him I was doing text. I didn't tell him I was streaming. My dad is a little bit conservative, like, and it's one of those like moments of like I don't know if he's like humorous about Donald Trump or if he's like possibly gonna be, you know, indoctrinated into that radicalism. So I didn't want to like, you know, I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to have to be like, I didn't want to be like, hey dad, I'm just in the middle of streaming right now as a 3D VTuber where I am personified as a muscular zebra. Don't think too hard about it. I love you. Bye. Clunk. How do we know that you're not a ghost? Because ghosts can't use electronics. Haven't you seen Supernatural? They do all kinds of like, you know, fucking like weird nonsense when you do. Alrighty, scan QR code. There we go. And then paste. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? I have to type it in one at a time? 214. Optional, a security pin. Skip for now. Like, I'm not gonna go through all this tedium. I'm not going to go through all this tedium if it's not going to let me fill in my taxes. Welcome to the online taxes at OLT. The federal interview is mandatory for all users, even if you're only filing a state tax return. You fill out the state interview section if you intend to file a state tax return. Filing state tax returns alone via e-file is not supported except for residents of New York due to their e-file requirements. For those filling last year's through and wish to import their data, ensure that start my return. Fuck. What's my social security number? I don't know these details off by heart. How do people remember these details like off by heart, like their social security and shit? Give me a mew. Give me a mew. Give me a mew. Maybe I can find it. I can find it in last year's tax return. Deakus remembers their of course Deakus remembers their number. Who the fuck else wouldn't? All right. No. Okay, so Twitch doesn't have my tax number, but if I go into my documents and then I go to Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Ow! Turbo Squid. TurboTax, there we go. TurboTax for 2020. Nothing in there. God fucking damn it. Alright, F. F for financial records. There we go. That's the ATO. That's the notification of salary increase. TurboTax of 2020. Hi there, Pox! Welcome to the stream! The reason why you're seeing a Galaxy Zebra behind you right now is because I'm going through my taxes. I had no idea what I was going to be doing this stream, and you know what? I'm gonna do my fucking taxes. Alright, the 2022 ATO. Nope, that's Australian, because ATO means the Australian Taxation Office. I am a fucking idiot. Do not use me as an exemplar. US passport documentation. The DS11. What the fuck is the DS11? There is no information in that DS11 that will help me. Holy shit. How did I ever... Like, I swear I have my information somewhere. Here it is. TaxSlayer 2022. Somehow I was able to use TaxSlayer with, like, no problems whatsoever. Don't ask me how. It just happened. Okay, so. Social Security number. XXX. XX. XXXX. Alright, there we go. I love your head, Pat Redeem. I want to squish your head. Thanks. Thank you for wanting to squish my head. Maybe the brain, maybe it'll help get the brain juices like flowing if you squish my head. I don't have any suffixes. October 12th. Alright, save and continue. Check here for foreign address. Oh my goodness, it lets me put in a foreign address. Oh, we're cooking, chat. We are fucking cooking. Oh my goodness. This might be it. Hey, this might be it, Xerix. We might be able to do my taxes. I'm gonna have to tell my sister about this because, like, we have a 2-month extension. Yep. This I might need to tell my sister about this one. Okay, start my 2023 tax. Are you a U.S. citizen or green card holder and want to file a 1040? If you need to file a 1040, no. Do you want to amend your tax return? No. Are you a resident of the... Do you want to file? No. Please answer yes. Oh. Ow. The U.S. individual... So I do need to do a 1040. What the fuck? Hang on. So, based on your answers, your return type will be the form 1040. It's an absolute nightmare? It is an absolute nightmare. Give me a second. So. Alrighty. So, we need to... Navigation is easy. Cool. Getting around, take the tour... Save and continue the return. All right. Contact information. Daytime number. Check here if you don't want to print on your tax return. Check here if you don't have or you do not wish to enter it. Check here if you have a foreign number. Check here if you do not want to purchase. Yeah, cool. Next, and then social. Did the primary taxpayer receive a... No, I did not. Last year, was the primary taxpayer blind? No. Is the primary taxpayer disabled? No. If they were... No, I wasn't. Was the primary deceased before 2023? No, I'm alive. Was the primary taxpayer a member of the U.S. Armed Forces at any time last year? No, I was not. Last year, was the primary taxpayer a student? No, it's been a long fucking time. Does the primary taxpayer have a valid social security number for EIC? What is this? Valid to... If you were a... Hang on, sorry. Let me see if I can make this text bigger. To claim EIC, you must have a valid CI issued by the Social Security Administration. Any qualifying children listed. If your Social Security number says not valid for employment and year was issued to you, you could be fairly funded benefit. You cannot get the EIC. An example of a fairly funded benefit is Medicaid. If you have a card with the legend not valid for employment and your immigration's okay, I don't have any of that. Could there be qualified child? No. Save and continue. Return. Okay, so I've put in my foreign address. Check here if you do not want to generate additional state entries based off of the federal return. Save and continue. I am single. Do you want $3 to go to the presidential election campaign? Fuck no. I live all the way down here. Granted, I can vote in the upcoming election, but it is a lot of work trying to get me to, you know, like it takes me a lot of work to do the taxing. At any time during 2023, did you receive a reward, award, payment for property or services, selling, exchanging digital assets? No. Were you in a dual status alien? You are a dual status alien when you have been both a US resident and a non-resident in the same tax year. Oh, no. I'm American as fuck, boy. Do you want to state a preference to receive written from the No. Do you want to state a preference to receiving written communication with an accessibility other than the standard cancels prior election? You will also receive a standard print copy. Save and continue. Dependent, sorry. Do you have a dependent or a qualifying individual? No. Can you be claimed as a dependent on another person's tax return? No. Driver's license. Do I have a state-issued license? No, I do not. If you file an AL or New York, you must provide... That's fine. If you... Save and continue. Alright, cool. So we got that squared away. So, let's have... So we got jobs, investment income, pensions, social security, business owner, partner, shareholder, rental, sales, other miscellaneous things, gambling winnings, buying, purchase, transfer, own, or mining of any cryptocurrency. Which is the one... So Twitch gave me a form I need to complete. The 1099 miscellaneous. Is this the most recent one? It should be the most recent one. Yes, I believe this is the most... Yeah, 2023. Cool. Also, I can probably close this one. I'm an American as fuck, boy. Exactly. I'm sorry that we have to... Actually, you know what I should do? What's the thing I should put on the middle of the screen here? Like, should I just have the fishing just open for everyone and made cheaper? Hang on a second. Where's the thingy-majiggy? Turn off auto-hiding. There we go. Look, chat, it's the fishing game. It's the fishing game. Excuse me while I do my taxes. Here's a fishing game to enjoy. Where's the thingy for the fishing game? Here we go. Oh, you know what I just realized? Core overlays, filters. Move source, fishing full screen. Not the bald! My eyes! Alright, get transformation. There we go. Alright, and then duplicate this to fishing corner. And I'll make it cheaper for you, chat, as well. Just give me a second. Alright, so this here. Get transformation. Alrighty. And then ding dong. Give me a second. I'm making it. I'm gonna make it cheaper for you. Okay, don't you worry. So we are going to disable that action, and then we're gonna go into my. We're gonna go to the platform for Twitch. Now, normally it's like what 25 points, so let's put it back to 25. All right. How's that? How's that, chat? 20. Is that good? Does that work for you? Fishing. Nice. Alrighty then, cool. Back to my taxes. You go enjoy your fishing while I go do my taxes. Alrighty. So, it's a 1099. So, close useful form search. How is the form? Oh, please don't tell me that I. Nothing has been blocked on this. Cool. So, pause on this site. Form search. I need it. Federal. It's an income of some sort. Oh yeah, there it is. 1099. Okay. So investment income forms. So that could be. So yeah, that could be the 1099. Or no, wait, hang on. Self-employed, maybe. Other miscellaneous income. Yeah. Okay. Save and continue. Okay, it's not here. All right. So show more. So I need the 1099 miscellaneous, but I didn't receive alimony. Income from a 1099 miscellaneous. There we go. Okay. Please report your on this by clicking add a new 1099, then select the appropriate schedule C, E, and F, or Form 1040. If you shows rent or royalties, then after you enter from the 10, select the option to report this to Section E. Oh boy! Please select as seen on the 1099 form. Okay, so on the 1099 form, so in the state of California, the payer's detail is Twitch Interactive Inc. Three. Ow. 350 Bush Street. Suite 200. In the city of San Francisco, CA. State selected here will typically be that you resided in when the area was reported. Please note this could be different from this. If you moved during the. Oh wait, no. So it's not me. Okay. So not applicable here. Twitch Interactive Inc. Payer's address is the payer ID an individual. No, it isn't. Control C, Control V. I'm gonna have no idea what the fish is. Alright, is the recipient an EIN? I don't think it is. And the recipient is me. There is no account number. Fleckafill, no. Second, no. Alrighty, so no tax was withheld. Number 2, royalties. $518.17, because that's Twitch. There is no state tax withheld. Oh, things I need to fix. I need to select a... Please enter a valid... Oh, zip code. That's what I missed. As seen on the miscellaneous form. Problem. Save and continue. Will it let me... Please select a valid city? Here's the problem. I don't have... If you went gambling, you'll need to report the winnings to that state. Please update. Rental is taxable in the state return. Make sure the state... If you move during the year and the income was earned on the pre... Make sure you select the... This could be different from the payers listed on the income statement. The state you resided in. Oh, no. Hi there, Sage. I'm trying to do my taxes. Okay, so the instructions for the introductory material. All right, so they want me to put in a state is the problem. To at least 10,000 royalties for you must file either box 7 to report sales. How do I... What do I select if I'm like a valid state abbreviation? Like Wyoming, West Virginia, Washington, Vermont. Like I don't... There's not one for like when you're like a foreigner. It's not America Sasoa. It's not the A... There's APO, FPO, and APO and FP... Like, what is... Dang. Save and continue. Okay, I'm able to do a hyphen. So I'm able to have it exclude a state. Since can be used to report... If your 1099 miscellaneous shows rents or royalties, then after you enter the 1099, select the option to report this section to Schedule E. Should be report... Yeah, okay, so I'm putting it into Schedule E then. Alrighty then, cool. Please select which Schedule E the income should be reported to. Add a new Schedule E. Cool. Alright, so it's royalties. Enter the description. Twitch earnings. Check here for foreign address. Okay, don't... Your percentage of ownership in the property. Yep, no, so select the type of property. Royalties, Twitch earning. Click here for foreign. Should your income and expenses be appropriated using... No. Check here if you own that property as a... Check here if it was... No. So it's not disposed of. Alright. Your income and expenses will be appropriated based on the... Cool. Enter royalties that is not already listed above. I didn't have to pay any sort of fees and what have you. No repairs, none of that nonsense. Do you need to file a 4562 to depreciate your property? No. To authorize your property? No. Do you have any other expenses? Do not enter any amortize if you're going to... No. Do you have for which are at risk? No. Did you make any payments in 20 that would require you to file forms 1099? No. Okay. So we're done with the 1099. We now... So I now need to do the foreign... I now need to do the foreign income one. Like, I need to find it again. Okay, so... Where do I go for income that was from, like, another thing? Hang on a sec. Back to tax slayers. Okay, so we did the 1099. And then we need to do form 80... Is it 8879? No, 8879 is the thingy-majiggy. Hi there, Arthur Villainous Penguin.
Hello.
Hello. Hi there, Atomica. I'm trying to do my taxes. Hence why the nugget is, like, you know, front and center, and I'm available for... I love how they make taxes in the information so unavailable. Really irks your apple pancakes. It's not that they make it unavailable, it's that they make it very daunting to do. Alrighty, so I did need to do a 1040, which is the user's individual income tax return. And that one wants me other earned income. So, other earned income. Foreign... Is this it? The foreign earned income? 2,555? Is this it? Exemption of income for bona fide residents. Similar information with the foreign... This might be it. This might... Okay, so... Foreign earned income... 2,555. This might be it. Alright, So, do you want to add to figure your foreign earned income exclusion and or housing exclusion deduction? Yes. You qualify for the tax benefits available to taxpayers who have foreign earned incomes of both of the following. You meet the tax home test. You make the bona fide... Yep, okay, I know exactly what that is. Calculate. Is your tax home in a foreign country? Yes. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes. Select the test to see if you can take the foreign earned income exclusion. The bona fide... what's the difference between the two? Hang on a second. Foreign earned income, 255. What did I use last time? I used... If you answered yes to... Oh yeah, bona fide residence. So that's what I did use. Okay. Bona fide residence test. Save and continue. Were you a bona fide resident of a foreign for an uninterrupted period that includes an entire tax year? Yes. If you're claiming waiver, then answer yes to either... Were you a bona fide resident of a foreign country or countries for an uninterrupted period that includes an entire tax year? Yes. Save and continue. Alright, start of the bona fide. Alrighty, so, 1st of the 1st, 2001. I've been in Australia since then. End date. I am still a resident of this country, Australia. Enter further explanation for waiver of time. I'm not. If you had to leave because of war, civil, kind of living quarters in a foreign country. A rented room. Or rented apartment, sorry. Did any of your family members live with you abroad during any part of the tax year? No. Have you submitted a statement to the authorities where you claim bona fide that you are not a resident of that country? No. Are you required to pay to that where you claimed? Yes. Are you present in the U.S. or were you present? Yes, I was. Arrived in the U.S. 2023. Okay, when was I... Hang on a second. I need to double check when I was in the country. Couldn't think of the word daunting. Either way, though, I wish it wasn't so much. It would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely nice if it was that case. Alright, discard this. Alrighty, calendar from... Ding, 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 ding. So, from October... So, from October 14th until... Oh my god, when was it? Sorry, I just need to open up. So from October 14th till cookie for Hawaiian pizza. Ding 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 ding. October 12th till... No, so that's not it. So October 12th till October 23rd. Okay, so I was... Hang on, where's my form? So, October 12th till 2023, October 24th. Number of days on business, 0. Income earned, 0. State how the income was earned. Save and continue. So, were you president during 2023? Nice work! I don't know what the fuck that is. Text qualify and enter the conditional terms related to length. Citizen. That is so much money. Alright, so... Where did I have to enter the type of visa you're... Taxpayer is qualifying under bona fide residence test. List any contractual term... Oh, no, none of these things. Alright, cool. Save and continue. Enter contractual terms to length of your employment abroad. The description, please make it shorter.
Did you see it?
The tiny dancing man. I did see the tiny dancing man. I will be real with you. 24th. 0, 0. Enter the type of visa. Citizen. Did your visa limit the length of your stay or employment in a foreign country? No. It does not. Did you maintain a home while abroad? No. We're getting through this, chat. Alright, part 1. General information. How's everyone doing with the fishing? You doing it? It's kind of real just hearing you do this for some reason. It's just relaxing is what it is. I can't present to you what I'm doing because I'm gonna be real with you. We are at the part of the tax form where this is dealing with my real details and what have you, and I don't want to dox myself. I'm sorry, but you're not allowed to see what I put in my taxes. You just need to trust me that I do not want to, you know, can't spell for shit. PTY LTD. Nice, a broken sword. RT. And then... Oh, wait, no, hang on a second. Ding. This is the, needs to be a foreign address. There we go. Queensland. Alrighty then. Here we go. Okay, your employer is a foreign... Is it a foreign entity? Yeah, it's a foreign entity. Have you filed in the previous tax year? Yes, I did. If you have filed in the previous, select the last year you filed the form, 2022. Have you ever revoked either of the exclusions? No. What country are you... Of what country are you a citizen / national? Australia. Do you maintain a separate foreign address for your family because of adverse living conditions at your tax? No. Do you have a tax home in the foreign country during the tax? No. Okay, so I did a part 1. I did a part 2. I don't need to do a part 3. Oh, I need to do a part 4. So part 4. Foreign with... If they're listed here already. To claim a foreign income, you'll need to report the income first, then claim the... For example, you receive... you want to claim foreign... Report the wages under the W-2, then create a Form 2555 to claim foreign income. If you do not receive for the foreign, you can report it under the Foreign Employer Compensation... FEC. Oh my god. And knowing my luck, I have to now do this math in... I have to do this math in, whatsamahoozy, in, You do not want these things. Okay, so, gross payment is probably... Is it gross payment that they want, or... Yeah, it's gross... It's probably what they want, is gross payment. So... Save and continue. Alright. So I'll need to go back to the W-2 and put it under the FEC. Please enter the allowable share of income. None. Do you have any... no. Non-cash income. None of these things. Do you have any other non-cash property to enter? None. None of those things. Do you have any other allowances or expenses paid on your behalf for services you perform? No. Do you have any other foreign income to enter? No. Total amount of... No. Alright, so... Completed number 4. Enter the... Are you claiming... No, so section 5. Are you claiming... No, I am not. Section 6. Claiming the exclusion. Claiming... So, section 7. Claiming the foreign earned income exclusion. Qualifying period. Oh my god. Number of days in the... Click here if you... 365. Number of days in quote... Divided by... Cool. Section C, moving expenses, other expenses. So this is Cristal, Section 8. Oh, save and continue. Save and continue. Ridiculous. Click here. No, it wasn't that. Select Sol. Australia. Foreign employer compensation amount. Cool. Done. So $518. Why is it saying other foreign and earned income 120? No. Hang on, that's not right. So, hang on. So general information. Yep. Okay. So section 1 is done. Section 2 is the foreign address. It's a foreign entity. Did I file it from the previous year? Yep, the previous year. I do not want to revoke the exclusions. Did you maintain? No. Cool. All right. Taxpayers qualifying under the bona fide residence. All taxpayers. Cool. All right. Oh, it doubled it. Okay, so I need to delete this one here. So it's from the FEC. There we go. Do you have any? Nope. Continue. Save. Continue. Okay, now I should be good. Okay. Okay, now I should be good. I should be. So that's all the federal data. I'm done with the income. Which of these adjustments apply to you in the tax year of 2023? Educator, employee business, health savings, moving expensive, alimony payments, student. Nope, none of those. I'm done with the adjustments. You qualify for a free file. Your adjusted gross income is $518 because that was Twitch, which falls between $0 and $45. Or $4,500, sorry. Which of these deductions apply to you in the tax year? Exit. Bonafide residents of Puerto Rico. No, so we don't take anything. Done with the deductions. Hang on. You have entered a business income but have not completed the qualified business income deduction section. Please review many individuals, including if you have a trade or business activity. If you do not wish to take the... It's qualified trade or business activity. If you were treated as an employee for federal income tax purposes to whom you provided service, but now you're treated as independent by the... You are considered to be in trade business. If your current taxable years is less than or equal to... Okay, no, I don't think I need to worry about that. Save and continue. The fuck? Standard deductions or itemized summary. 13,850? What the fuck? How did you get to that? Taxpayers who are blind... What? Standard deductions can claim an additional per person. I don't... What? How did I... Total standard deductions. What? How does... Hang on. So, sure more. Standard deductions or itemized deduction summary. Okay. I'm done with the deduction summary. Skip this step. Foreign tax credit. Listed on are the types of credits we support. Done with the credit summary. Listed are the types of taxes we support. I'm done with it. I think I'm done? Which is applied to you in the tax year 2023. Skip this step. None of these things apply to me. I'm almost done, chat. The following are non-critical errors. You have entered business income, but have not completed the qualified business income deduction. Click here to see if you're eligible. Your qualified includes your section... Click here. If you are the sole owner that is treated as a separate entity. It's not exclamation point fish. So, exclamation point dex and leaderboard are what you want. But right now, there's like a lot of people in the fishing queue. There's like 42... There's 42 fishes in the queue. There's 42 fishing in the queue. Maybe you guys should slow down. Okay, so your qualified trader business includes your section 162 trades of business. Other than trades or businesses conducted through a C corporation, W-2 earned as an employee in special... In general, to be engaged in a trade, you must be involved in an activity of continuing regularity, and it must be for income or profit. If you own an interest in a pass-through entity, it is made at the... No, this doesn't... You must make us if you're released. You do not have to pay estimated tax if you are a U.S. citizen and you had no tax. Do you want to generate an estimated purchase? No, I do not. Would you like to file your return? Click here to e-file your federal return. Save and continue. You have the option to enter this along with your IRS prior year information. Uses the following entries to authenticate you and the Hawaiian pizza. All right. I'm basically done with my taxes, so I'm gonna bring the feature of it, like, increasing in price back in again. My goodness. Enabled. Alright. What the fuck? Prior year adjusted gross income. Ah! Fuck. They want me to put in a pin? Save. If you did not file a return, please enter 0 for your prior. If you do not need a prior year. If you do not have a copy of your prior, you can request it. If you filed a. God damn it. Alright. Now comes the fun part where I need to try and find this. Okay, so that was for 2020. How many do we have in the queue right now? 59 fishers in the queue. Holy shit. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. 59 fishers in the queue. I'm just gonna move it up to the top thingy-madiggies. Core overlay. Filters. Fishing goes back in the corner. And you know what? Until we get through those 50, think pausing. We're pausing that redeem. God damn it. I shouldn't have kept the price at 25 while I was going through my taxes. 60 fishers on the queue. Do you realize how many of you just went fishing randomly? Goodness gracious. Alrighty, now to find... What would my... Adjusted year gross income. Sorry, just give me a minute. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Woo! Cost... You ready to hear this, chat? Because I did a free file tax return, it cost me nothing to do it. The amount of federal return I'm expected to make is nothing. Please review your name, social security, and my date of birth. Oh my god. Yep, that's correct. Yep, that's correct. Yep, that's correct. Save and continue. Yep, the statement above is correct. I reviewed. I've rechecked the... Alright, ding ding ding. Queued. Cool. My tax return status is queued. Allow 24 to 48 hours for the IRS to send back the response. Ooh. We did it, chat! I did my tax return! Okay, I also need to tell my sister I now have a tax return website she can use. So I finally found a site that'll do your taxes. A 2-month extension automatically. OLT. Online tax. Alrighty then. Woo! Alrighty then. Now, I half expect by the time I get back to... By the time I hear back from the IRS, they're gonna be like, I'm sorry, this information is incorrect. We have to take you to the United States. And it's like, we have to take you to the IRS. And it's like, how are you going to do that? I'm in the middle of Australia. And they're gonna be like, fuck. He has a point. Alright. Oh my goodness, there's so many fucking... Why does this program... Why can't the program just use, like, a false, what's-a-whoosies? So many things. Alright. 7:17. I just spent the last hour and a half doing my taxes. Cool. Let's never do that again till next year. Can we? Let's not do that again for another year, and all will be well. Alrighty then. Ding dong hadong habong. Ding dong. Alrighty then. Cool. We are fine. We are alive. There is no need to panic. There we go. Alright. You know what I want to do? I want to play Final Fantasy. Actually, no, that's not true. I want to play Armored Core. Wait, no. Final Fantasy or Armored Core? Let's go with Final Fantasy. I got some dailies I need to do, and I want to get like the Wondrous Tales out of the way because that seems like the appropriate thing to get done and dusted. Won't you join in with me as I go through some Final Fantasy? You started the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster with a friend the other day. Oh, that's cool. I've got Final Fantasy 1 to 6 in my Steam library. So, like, it's tempting to play that. Hang on a second, need to refresh this. There we go. There we go. Alrighty then. Actually, while we can, let's go to Materia. We can now visit Materia Ravana. Won't this be fun? Here we go. There we go. Oh yeah, I need to press proceed. I'm an idiot. Ah! Stretching! Ugh! I am now in Materia. Excellent. And there's 14 people ahead of me. Just wanted to keep an eye on a few other streamers while I'm waiting for this thingy-madoogie to load. Pause this, because there's going to be music in this background. Alright, how many... There's 36 fissures. Alright, I'm going to mute the thingy-madoogie. We're gonna let this run for a little bit. My goodness, look at everyone here. Oh my god, I love the frog leaf thing. That's really cute. Alrighty. What the hell? Why is that person just floating? There's a lot of Rothgars for some reason. Thank you for the Hyper Himbo, Sir Dragon. Alright, so first things first. We need to get to Idleshire so we can pick up a new Wondrous Tales. And I need to get that done in like the next day. But don't you worry, chat. There's a funky way you can get through this thing as quickly as you can. Although I do want to like try and get my warrior up a few levels, so there's that. Also, I've used up all my MG because. All right, receive a new journal. All right, so first things first, we need to go through these three things. Thorn, Howling, Minstrel's Ballad, Rival Wings, Thok est Thok. We haven't done any of the bindings. We could do Rival Wings. Treasure Dungeons, Arm of the Father, Void Ark, and Labyrinth of the... Alright, so, first things first. Leveling. Let's get That one is most likely going to give us something between the levels of, like, 150 to, like, 60. So it's going to fill in one of these 3. The main questline scenario will get through a level 50 dungeon, thankfully. So... yeah, so we should be good. Although I really do hope that this thing will proc off in less than 5 minutes, because I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be very upsetties, spaghettis, if this thing just takes forever. Cannot access, well, yep, no, fair enough. Like, it's the leveling duet, and I'm in the... there we go. Alrighty then. Wish me luck. Yeah, level 37. All right, cool. So this will get us through the first bit. Then we go for level 50 with the main scenario. There we go. Don't you get ahead of me, bug boy! Why you gotta do this to me? Alrighty, there we go. Also, hi there, little Incineroar. How many more of these? Okay, we probably have a lot more fishing to go, quite frankly. Alrighty, is everyone here? Yep, looks like everyone's here. Oh, this guy is nearly dead. This is fantastic. Yeah, I'm on your server, Velk. I got dailies to do. So yeah, because I didn't have anything planned today, I got my taxes done this evening, which was pretty great. So now I'm doing now I'm just doing this thing. I can swing by if you want some assistance. I could do with some assistance in my third row just to get through that shit quicker. Disciple of War, pass. There we go. Alright, so there's the first one. Damn it. Very nice. Thank you. Alright, grab the Flame of Magic. Alright. Okay, so is it flame and then fruits on the scales, or is it fruits then flames? There we go. Like, how does what is the Ul'dah symbol again? Because I always forget it. Okay, so Fruit of Knowledge, Flame of Magic, and Gem of Affluence. There we go. Oh, lol. Someone in chat was just like, oh, I didn't... Only, like, NA people do the full strat. And I'm like, the full strat? And they're like, only ever seen people do the optional stuff on Crystal. And I was just... And it's just this moment of, oh... Without even realizing it, I'm just, like, this is me on Crystal. Flame on the left, fruit on the right. Though the fire and the fruit you carry on. Through the fire and the fruit you carry on. Okay. Hi there, Sai the Cat. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Apparently this isn't your first time here. I wonder why that is. Alrighty then. Everyone ready? Yep, looks like everyone's ready. Mm-hmm. So the song is how you remember. Fruit on the left, flame on the right. Through the fire and the fruit you carry on. Oh! Are you talking about like a... Through... Why does that lyric sound familiar? Earlier, through the fire and the fruit I carry on. Hello? Why is this thing... There we go. There we go. Through the fire and the flame. Yeah, but change to the fire and the fruit. That makes sense. Ooh, Disciple of Magic. I will agree on that one because I have picked up another... I've picked up another class in preparation for when I have to deal with In preparation for when I'm done with this one. Or, correction, when I'm done with all the tanks. Excuse me. There we go. I don't think we have Gem of Affluence. There we go. Yeah, because I don't have any of the other pedestals, I believe. So, through the fire and the fruit. That's the phrase, through the fire and the fruit. Bored! Thank you for the follow, or Boar3D. Thank you so much for the follow, I really appreciate it. You have a lot of fish? You've been catching so many fucking fish. I hope you realize this. So many fucking fish. Alrighty, so through the fire? Flame on the left, fruit on the right. Flame on the left, fruit on the right. Scales of Judgment. There we go. Alrighty then. Adjudicator. Where's... Ow! Who threw shit at me? Alright, Adjudicator time. Woo! There we go. Give it to the healer. Yep, Kiet is fine with it. Alright. Pass on those. Pass on the resilience. Oh my god, there was so many fucking... Alright, and then pass on that. Alright, wait for everyone to be basically leaving. There we go. 2 accommodations for my work. Oh yeah. Alrighty then. Ding. Friend list. Oh, would you look who it is? Invite to party. Alrighty, next up, so we finished the leveling. Now we do a level 50, 60, 70, 80 dungeon. Let's see what we get. Dun 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 dun. Bum bum. How is they're grabbing the stuff you unlock by doing it right? Re-queue and it will be instant. Okay, hang on a second. Withdraw. Join. You are correct. It is instant. I'm going to take the wild guesses. You went with the healer. Hang on a second. I should probably move over into my own Discord in case... Yes, you do. Boom, ba bum bum.
I just got there.
Nice. Okay, so this is a level 50, so we don't need to do main questline scenario now.
Oh, thank God.
I was hoping... Well, the main questline scenario is not that egregious, let's be real.
Yes, it is. I have to do it 4 or 5 times a day.
What do you mean 4 or 5 times a day?
Welcome to mental roulette. That's the only thing you get.
Oh, okay.
Normally, I'd agree with you because it's a great way to get levels, but when you only get that every day, forever, yike.
Noted. Okay, I should probably slow down with, like, 6 on my tail.
Oh no, go nuts. You can pull the entire next room as well.
I am not 100% confident in that. So yeah, because I don't have my raw intuition. I don't have my emergency panic button.
That's okay. I have 3 of them. I haven't healed you yet.
What?
I haven't healed you yet.
So you just left me, like, just to fend for myself?
Yes, you're a warrior. You can deal. I've got important things to do, like DPS.
Oh.
And DPS.
Which allows me to, guess what, DPS even more.
Yeah.
There we go. Indeed, we don't usually 100% that dungeon, so why open everything to not grab the treasure? Oh! Hi there, Ash Barba Boy! What was... Damn it, I already forgot your name. You were like... What was the healer's name? Hang on a second. There'll be like a thingy-majiggy. I can't get to the friends list. There's like a recent players list, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's unavailable at this time.
Where the... Oh, shit. If I scroll up and I look through the history of, like, people, I think I know exactly the name. Kiet! It was Kiet, wasn't it? Yeah!
Okay, now for the one that everyone wipes to.
Why is this one the one everyone wipes to?
You'll see.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Did I forget to mention they expand? I forgot to mention they expand.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
You know what? Just in preparation. Yeah, there it is. The next one is Uh-oh Stinky.
Yeah, I stunned them. I knew I was a genius for my move then. We were still in level 50 dungeons. Stun is still, like, actually useful for me.
You can also stun hard mode Ifrit.
Oh, not extreme, though.
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't tested that.
Okay.
I haven't had the need to. Because you just insta-kill him.
Oh yeah, no, at the level I'm at now, I can definitely insta-kill him. Ow. Ow. Am I meant to be here?
Sure.
Do I need to keep him in here?
No. You can just keep going.
Okay. I remember at Mount Gold, I almost did that, like, wall-to-wall. Because I saw, like, a TikTok or something like that that was just, like, the mentor just convincing the... Oop, what?
Yeah.
Oop, hello.
Level 50 dungeons, they're dumb.
Do we go up here, or...?
Yeah, it's up the stairs.
Okay, cool. So, I'm sorry, I get distracted by treasure coffers.
That's fine. This dungeon isn't exactly forthcoming with where you need to be.
It was a time when they were like, oh, let's be a little bit experimental.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, this was a Realm Reborn where everything was hooked anyway. Why not?
So.
Throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah. What do you think was something that was like? Because I'm not familiar with like the actual. A dungeon's a dungeon for me. What was something that was like different from Heaven's War dungeons when coming from a Realm Reborn?
Definitely the playstyles again, because Summoner was actually viable instead of Arcanist. A lot of new skills. A meta was established for tanks.
Yep.
So, if you were a you always wanted a warrior 100% of the time because they had Bloodbath, which think raw intuition, but it lasts 15 seconds longer.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that sounds insane.
Yeah, it was. Self-healing as one of those was just insanity. But otherwise, it depends on the fight if you wanted a paladin or a dark knight. Yep. Because dark knights are great at anti-magic, and paladins are great at physical, but they're shit at magic, and vice versa.
The paladin isn't too great, even at the stage it's at right now, though, is it? Isn't it?
It's perfectly reasonable to have it as a main tank or an off tank now.
Okay. So yeah, because for instance, like when, because I was looking at guides about the Palace of the Dead, and I remember seeing like so many guides like a year ago for the Machinist and shit. But when I looked at it this year, because I want to try and like get to level 200 solo just to piss Dazzy off, I started to see that Warrior was actually now popping up as like oh, it's an option because of the self-heals and everything.
Yep. It's perfectly viable.
Yep.
Stop.
Do we kill the zoo pellets? I can't remember.
If you kill her brood, her damage is increased. So if you kill her kids, she gets angry.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But they're kids, so, you know, it's fine.
So kill the child.
I mean, what?
Because that's the thing, is like, do we destroy the eggs, or do we destroy the kids? That's the question.
I believe the kids are fine to kill. It's the eggs that are not.
Oh, okay. Wasn't 100% certain on that one.
That's metal there.
Oh, okay, cool. This one's a confusing. Like, here's the reason. I like the main. I like the main scenario like thing because I feel like that one is a 100% wall to wall, and it is not a problem. I feel like the only reason people don't like it is because of the cutscenes, and it gets egregious if, like you said, you're doing it 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Aether Vial.
I can only make brownies so many times a day.
Understandable. Alrighty then. Oh, cool. Aether Detonation does nothing. Cookie for Engrel! Here you go, Engrel. Here's your cookie.
But yeah, every class played differently way back when, so it was reasonable that you could clear as anything, because any class could be anything.
Yeah, no, I remember back in the day, like, there was like a mana thing for warriors, for instance, that had to be utilized. It wasn't just MP. And then there was the fact that you could just cross-skill, like, so much more strongly.
Yeah, like you could have Cure as a warrior.
Yep. Sorry, I was meant to keep that in my review.
What it?
Oh, fuck.
You're fine.
Yeah, but I should pay better attention.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay, now for the hardest boss in the game.
You don't raise my confidence very well when you make shit like that. Although Sash isn't much better when she's just sort of like, oh, this guy, and I'm like, what's the mechanic? She's like, oh, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
That's...
It's better to learn that way than just be told.
I guess,
the thing with this boss is that we're done here. Let's move on.
What? How? That felt too quick, even at, like, a thingy-majiggy level.
What do you mean? What's wrong? Is there a problem?
We're synced, right? Like, that's not a...
That's normal.
This feels like...
I don't see a problem.
This feels weird.
Remember, experimental phase.
Okay. Alright, just need to wait for talk.
Yeah.
Ugh. Excuse me. But yeah. This dungeon, not gonna lie. Alrighty. But yeah, so once we're done here, then we have a 51 and then a 60 to go through. And we'll probably just do those unsynced, frankly.
Okay.
So...
I was hoping for a level 70 just because I enjoy level 70 summoner.
No, fair enough.
It is broken at this stage of the game. Because you know how you always want crit or death?
Yeah.
Or direct hit?
As a tank? I think so.
Or as anything.
Oh.
So, for Summoner, they are weird in that they want pure spell speed only at level 70, and at any other time it's crit death. I love it when they allow people to do that for classes.
Just in case.
Yeah, so the reason for that is the levels at level 70 you get a spell called Enkindle Bahamut, which does a small amount of 1,300 potency in damage. Just a small amount.
Barely following. This is why I'm warrior first and foremost, is I don't have to think hard. Look away.
Oh, apparently it was in. Apparently.
There we go. Ding dong bang. Player accommodation to talk.
I can't heal them up. Oh, okay.
Why can't you heal them up?
They were in a cutscene.
Oh. That's a silly reason.
Oh. I was like, I really hope they don't get doomed from that. Alright. So what are we doing?
Just waiting on the other two, just to see what they do. How's the chat doing? Endwalker gave Paladin quite a few busts. You got to floor 100. How are you doing today? People are surviving. Fair. Eat nufsies. Alrighty then. So, next one is something between 51 and 60. I was gonna say Solemn Al, I think, was gonna be a good... Because I feel like the Dusk Vigil, we have to, like, wait for shit, and then there's, like, a cannon.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go...
So either that or the Airy. Either or.
Either or. Alright, Solemn Al, unsynced, so we can get through that as quickly as we can. Even though you main Summoner, I guess I just built it up wrong.
That's only at level 70. At any other time, it's crit dead. Or crit direct hit.
Yep.
It's a fringe case.
Alrighty, there we go. Oh, it's almost as if, like,
yeah.
I remember going through the, Hi, Jason. I remember going through... What's the, like, the first dungeon with the scorpion at the end of the thing? 1,000 Maw or something like that. That one, like...
1,000 Walls of Tetarak, yeah.
Yeah, that one I, like, just blitz through it, the same way as you're doing right now, where it's just like, oh yeah, AoE. Moving on, and then rush ability, AoE again.
No, it died! Damn it, my Communio! Oh, I'm upset. Goodbye, Communio.
Was it a case of, like, I helped you, unfortunately?
No, I crit. Hard.
Because this is now the whatsamahoozy, this is now the highest DPS class, isn't it? Like, competitive to Black Mage?
No. Black Mage and Samurai will always be above Reaper.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought Reaper was like a fresh newie.
It is. It's one of the new ones, but it's not one of the best.
Like, is it third at least?
I don't know the specifics. I just know how the class. I just know how it plays.
Radio. Oh, I didn't even get one hidden.
Illegal.
Illegal. I'm getting carried by a mentor for my wondrous tales. Ooh, clear prism. I don't know why I would need that.
Just in case.
Just in cases.
They are used... Oh, that's another thing, how it used to be that you wouldn't know. Right, okay. So, fun fact, you know glamour prisms?
They were basically locked so that you had to be a particular level for them to apply to a different item level.
And, as well as that, they would be bound to certain jobs. So...
Based off of, like, the job that's required to do the repair for that whatsamahoozy, for instance.
So, if it was a wood piece, you needed a glamour prism that was related to carpenter.
Yep.
To be able to apply it to other gear.
And then if it was armor, it would be armorer. Weapons would be blacksmith. Yep. I think I see that anytime I do, like, desynthesis, for instance, it tells me, oh, this skill dictates the desynthesis proficiency.
So yeah, every time you wanted to glamour something, you needed the correct prism, and you needed to...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I'm happy they got rid of that.
Now they've just sort of, like, made it lower. I think the one that irks me the most, that I'm glad I wasn't here when it happened, was when I played the minigame for the tree cutting and the mining, and someone had to tell me, oh yeah, that's how the crafting went previously.
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah, oh yeah, you were the one that told me that.
Yep. A not-so-fun fact.
Not so fun fact, people... gathering actually took effort, and it was luck as well. So yeah, I was there for the time when there was a chance that you could collect high quality stuff though. I remember that like high quality gathering was a thing, and it was like, oh.
Also, that you were not allowed to fish in Lanoska.
That one I feel like is just a, you know, pool close kind of nonsense, where it's like, it makes no sense. Just let us fish.
No, as in, if you did that, it would crash the server.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Oh, so
that was a fun one.
Okay, so that's a have a hotel pool closed then.
Yes.
Oh.
If you fish in a specific spot, the entire server would go down, and it took them a while to figure out what the hell was going on.
How? Oh, you finished. Look, I'm gonna be real. I know you go through these... Okay. Just... You're just fucking done with 51. You're just like, nah. Alright.
The answer is spaghetti code.
Like how they accidentally left a leaf that would... Or a potted plant that have, like, way more pixels than, like, an entire character model with all of its shit. Alright.
Yeah.
Next up is a level 60 dungeon.
Okay.
It's another Heaven's Ward. Actually, let me just double check my... Let me just double check minions for a second. Actually, so... Sources... Alright, so dungeon. There shouldn't be anything left in... Yep, no, there isn't anything left for mounts and dungeons. But minions, meanwhile, there should be, like... Oh, so many. Dungeon, search... Okay. Sort by patch. Oh, wait, we can get the Gale Kitten in Som Al? That's news to me. Alright, so the Great Google Library. Oh, Lost City of Amandapur. Hard. Interesting. I didn't know we can get a butterfly from there. Alright, let's go with that one. Unless... Wait, what is the... Have I already gotten the thingy-majiggy from... The Anti-Tower gives you Brina, and Kalka. That's crazy-looking things. Nevereap gives you the duckling. Factal Conundrum gives you an owl. And Great Google Library is 59. Okay. I want to get an owl. Let's go for the Factal Conundrum and see if we luck out. Hi there, Het. Welcome to the stream. Oh, is all the fishing done? All the fishing is done. Amazing. I can now turn off the fishing screen. Oh, the music sounds cool here.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, I'm not too far away. Jesus Christ.
You can get a Cactar minion? I've already got the Cactar minion from the yellow quest. It's in my, thingy-majiggy. There he is. Could you at least let me pretend I'm the tank?
Okay.
Lol, this conjurer just standing. Oh, okay.
I will say there's one area that I'm not sure I agree with for the Machinist, and that's they losing the use of their gun.
What? How does that happen?
Well, for instance, that and that. Those aren't guns. Well, that's not our main weapon. We're using more and more inventions than our guns. So we have a drill, we have an air anchor, we have a chainsaw.
I guess Machinist was more like a you know, Tim the Tool Man.
Yes, actually, that's very accurate. Oh, and also a spanner. If you think I'm kidding, look at the projectile that I'm about to throw out at the next enemy.
Welcome to Tool Time. I saw the message dismantled.
Yep. You literally throw a spanner at them.
Hmm.
Oh yes, also shotgun.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like the shotgun.
Oh, treasure coffer. Hang on. There we go. I'm just. It's only now after reading the Final Fantasy XIV collecting image that it's like, oh, you could potentially get a minion from this dungeon. I'm like, rightio. Well, that's gonna be my goal for like whenever I have to do the level 60 is we're going through this one to try and get an owl. Oh. Alright. Oh yeah, you're level 90, so your enmity is gonna be like huge.
Yeah, especially when I crit direct hit.
Yeah. Did you get a pre-order for Dawn Trail?
I haven't done it yet. I should get around to that.
I haven't done it yet. Sash is like, oh, you should do it. You get an earring that will get you to level like 90 faster by getting like 30% increase on what's-mahoozies on battles. And I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it for me, because I never felt under-leveled for a thing, especially with pacing myself out with nonsense.
Yeah, I can't say that's worth it for me.
Yeah.
But
Are you like Omni-class at this point?
Yeah, I have been for a while now. For about a year.
Wait, has Endwalker been out for a year?
It's been out for longer than that.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry if I just depressed you.
No, wait, how long is longer than a... Because, like, I feel like it's taken me, like, 3 years to get to this point.
I think it's been about 2.
Okay. So, yeah, because I'm pretty sure... I remember the harebrained idea was that, oh, I'm gonna get through this, like, I'm gonna get through the majority of MSQ in 6 months. I remember having this thought. Bold, I know.
Very bold.
Especially when it's once a month I am playing
Sky Gem
this.
paid me to say goodnight, Zeeb. Time for bed, you woo.
Good night, Sky. Thank you for coming along. Sorry I didn't pay attention. Okay. Oh, treasure coffer.
Okay. For Endwalker, no, it wasn't 2020, because that was Shadowbringers. That was when T was coming out. Because that was during the peak COVID times.
Yep. So, and it was a time when everyone was like sort of wanting to go for something other than World of Warcraft, and they were like, oh my goodness, how have we not seen this sooner? And being like, you know, shocked that an MMO can exist for 10 years under WoW Shadow.
By just being something completely different.
And now for something completely different. Wait for me, I have little legs.
Well, then grow bigger ones. Simply grow them. And chainsaw.
Woo!
You win.
No, jeez, thanks. It's just like, you win. Hi there, Benru. Alrighty, so that gets through our first row. Darn. So far, nothing looking good. So I've got Howling Eye, Thorn March, Whirl Eater, and the Mistral Ballad. I can do all those things myself. Arm of the Father, however, I cannot. So let's see.
Yeah, we can unsync everything.
We can still... You think we can do it unsynced? Arm of the Father?
Oh yeah, easily.
Okay.
Like, we can... Oh,
You were just like...
I can actually bring you through the Savage of the final turn.
Oh,
If you want the mount.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Mount hunting will be another thing. This is just me getting through the dailies because it's a day off, and you know it's
Yeah.
gonna up my level for the warrior a little bit. So, in case I want to, I have my warrior instead of whatever other class I want for going through Endwalker shit.
Ah, yes. Living thickwood, as people call it.
What?
You haven't heard that?
Living thickwood?
Yeah, it is, you'll see if you haven't. You should have, though.
I know about the Pepsi Man. Like, I'm familiar with the Pepsi Man in this. I think is it this one that has the Pepsi Man, or?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because he's not impossible for me, but it's just one of those cases of, oh my god, it feels painful having to try and go through this solo.
There you go. You can see why they call him Living Thickwood.
Oh, Living Thick... It's just... play on. Yeah, because I knew of the Living Liquid. I just never heard of him referred to as Living Thickwood.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it, Living. Okay, good.
There we go. You can have the things.
I'm already out.
Damn. Alrighty. Now comes the fun bit, where we just go through all the easy trials.
Yep.
So, Minstrel's Ballad.
I do like the necklaces from this.
Oh, the necklaces are good?
I like them.
Okay. There we go. That's got to be a personal record.
Oh, the band.
Alright, next one is... Whirl Eater, Howling Eye, and Thorn March.
Okay.
So, this one honestly annoys me, because I feel like I can easily solo this one faster than, like, 5 minutes, but I feel like it just takes longer because of them, like, deciding to give it immunity at, like, 2 or 3 stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Excuse me while I arm's length this. Oh, never mind.
And skip all that shit, because we don't want to deal with it.
Cool. Oh, there's no thingy-majiggy. How is there no thingy-majiggy?
Oh, was that the hard? Yeah, that was the hard version, not the extreme.
Oh. That would explain it.
Hmm. It would.
Look, don't shake your head at me, Xerix. It's an honest mistake. Code had us go through this shit unsynced, mind you.
Yeah, no, honest mistake. I've made it myself.
Yep.
Damn it.
Oh, 44%. Never mind. What a waste.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
There we go.
Also, not every class had the immunity to knockback way back when.
Mm-hmm. Noted.
Even in Stormblood, Bard didn't have that.
Ew. Alright, so we're done. Thorn March Extreme. Here we go. It wasn't as bad as Sash. Oh yeah, Sash made it so that, like, Light Party going in synced. That happened.
You immune little... I'm a glare. I'm a glare. Receive of my body? Oh, that doesn't sound right.
Oh. Hey, fending. Nice. Haven't seen that one before. Alrighty, what's left? Oh, Howling Eye. Easy. Bink. And we should be all done, and that's, like, me basically done with fun. Because the only stuff I can do more is, some of the blue checkmark things, which I normally do synced, and MSQ, but MSQ is for Saturdays. Alright, thank you.
All good.
Alrighty, so, 1, 2, 3. Shuffle. No. Shuffle again. Nope. Shuffle. Likelihood of... It would be nice to get at least 2 lines. Because if I can get those 2, that gives me 2 lines. Nah, shuffle again. There we go. That gives me at least 1 line, so...
Oh, that's actually the best you can do right there, so... Oh.
It's okay. I got
2 lines.
2 lines at least, so...
That's great.
Yep, I get to get my... Because I use so much of my MGP on the crossover quest. Because there's all kinds of orchestral scrolls. And I wasn't too sure which ones were orchestral scrolls that were part of the thingy-madiggy, or that were just part of the, you know, the thing.
Yeah.
So, hand over a journal. Can't wait to tell everyone about these. Made a few requests and I don't want to be... Alrighty then, so we go for the Poetics. We go for the MG and the Platinum. So, because as tempting as it is to get the Silvers, no thanks. There we go. Warrior is... Hello. Alright.
Enhanced Equilibrium. Just in case you wanted your Equilibrium to be even more busted.
Mm-hmm. So... And then... Oh, I've already got the Unbreakable and the Curator. Unfortunately, neither of those things are sellable, which is a shame. Alright, let's see. Yep, so that can go into the saddlebag. Yep, that can go in the saddlebag. That can go in the saddlebag. So can that. Oh, ice tier, not diamond tier. Weird.
What about this?
Oh my god, it's a kitten! Have an egg.
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 Egg. Egg.
The day I run out of boiled eggs is gonna be a weird day. Alright, there we go. Woo! Alright, sort my inventory. Yay, so I've got Sunset Orange and Mole. This Mole Brown will actually be helpful, because I know that's popped up in, reports once or twice. Curator, Unbreakable. I've already got, like, nearly all the titles, so that's just gonna be Disseminated or some shit. Can be redeemed for a single visit from the 8th or something or other. Vesper Bays. Hi there, Sash! No, it's not MSQ. It's not, I swear to you, it's not MSQ. I was just getting through the Wondrous Tales with the help of Iraq. Velk. Say
Either or.
Either or. But yeah, hi Sash, welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
And what do you mean say hi? I was waving.
We couldn't. Oh, Demon Sylveon. But why not? We're not gonna go through the MSQ on a Monday. The people that would probably be following me are not aware of this shit. But I have a Higgin tail. Nashu goes east. Actually, I've got a few things that go off in Kagane shit. So hang on a second. Come with me to Japan.
God, I wish this were how we traveled instead of planes.
Imagine just disintegrating ourselves and reintegrating us through the magic of crystals.
So much better than plane sickness.
Yeah. I had to go through plane travel like twice in as many weeks. Alright, hang on a sec. Sorry, not Mount Guide. Minion Guide. Here we go. Cactar. Cactar. So yeah, so other ones I've gotten has been the Chigoi larva. I don't know how I got this baby behemoth, but I have him. Let's see. We've got like different hatchlings. This one I quite like. There's the jail kitty. Wind-ups. Unicult. Bluebird. Wind-up Mystial. The Magitech Predator F1. There's Torgal. You gave me the Adventurers Basket, the picnic thing.
Yep.
And yep, there's the Palico there. Alright. Aw, the mangy mutt.
Look at his face.
It looked terrible is the first thing that popped into my mind. Alrighty.
Oh, that's generous.
Alright, this way. And no, I've not yet done the Kugane Tower climb.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Hey, looks, they make it seem like as it's possible because it only takes like 17 minutes or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Alright. Oh. Conspicuously inconspicuous man. Is it a random game stream? I'm terrified of traveling via planes. I don't know why you would think that. Planes are fine. They're technically the safest way to travel. Like, the statistic of you dying from a plane is so much lower than you dying from, like, okay. That one company, I will agree with you, it's a bit problematic that Boeing has just turned, you know, hugely corporate businessman instead of remaining as the, whatsamahoozy, engineering firm that we all remember them from the 1990s, but I think that just goes to show that we can no longer trust in only one or two companies leading the capitalism, like, system in whatever degree. We've seen it in Australia with our internet. We've seen it in Australia with our telephones. Technically, that's the same thing, but hear me out. And we've seen it with our grocery shopping. And now America is like, oh, there's only 2 aviation companies. We might not need to do that. All right, you've got me, Mr. Samurai. But before you do anything rash, like arrest or torture or chop me into little bits with that sword of yours, know that I never touched her. I mean, I never even had the chance. I'm sorry. First off, this is an axe. Totally meant for executions. Oh, you're that Eorzean adventurer. I thought you looked familiar. Phew. I mean... Phew. But for a moment there, I thought I was done for. Those Sekisagumi don't mess about. All cut first and ask questions later, you know? No romance in their hearts. They wouldn't understand. I'll stream this for you in case there's any dialogue that you're just sort of like, oh, I so want to say this. Ah, so it's not just crimes, but big, incredible crimes you want to know about. Incidences the likes of which send ripples through time and space, through fate and destiny. It was 5 years ago, or maybe it was last week. I'm not so good with time lately anyway. There I was, walking Ul'dah's bustling streets, when the sea parts and my eyes meet with those of a maiden most fair, and she stole my heart. It was like two grains of sand in the desert looking at each other, and one of those grains knowing that it was destined to spend the rest of its life with another grain, because she had this whole sultry scribe thing that made him so... Ugh. Ever since that day, I've watched over her from afar, a silent guardian, a humble protector. Some might think me mad or call me a coward for refusing to speak with her, but they are fools. Fools, I say. True love is not the product of clumsy banter, but careful study. Years and years of observation, of obsession, until you know her better than she knows herself. Chat, that is terrible advice. Do not do that to a woman. Do not stalk them. There is no good, or stalking anyone doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman or any which identity. Don't stalk them. Meet them up at the first time on the first go. Don't be waiting months to do this shit. He needs some Heidelin.
Well, Jesus doesn't exist in this world, and Heidelin does, so you need some Heidelin.
You need some Heidelin. Perhaps, when the time is right, I shall reveal myself to her, but until that blessed day, I shall aid her from the shadows, and you, my friend, will aid her in the light. Although she looks familiar. There she is. I bet this town's crawling with all kinds of shifty folks up to no good. Come on, you lot, show yourself. Lol. I remember, like, it was maybe Saturday or something that we just had all these horror stories of, like, oh yeah, the Watsumahuzi, thingy is absolutely terrible in Japan. Dastardly doing and purported instances of criminal behavior? This is Kugane, my dear. We're no shortage of that here. But, since you asked, the story on everyone's lips at the Bogosen these days is that of the wealthiest among us, and how they are being preyed upon by some sneak thief. Perhaps they should invest in better locks? Excuse me. Okay, over here. Also, I'm just gonna have to double check my friends list to see whether or not Sasher is stalking me. Nope, doesn't look like she is. I'm waiting for Dazzy to be my friend, but he hasn't accepted the friend request yet.
Meanwhile, you haven't looked up yet.
What? Oh. So, I don't know how you get that. How did you get up there?
I walked.
Gregory! What the fuck you doing up there?
I walked. Oh, wait, that means that you haven't... Okay, after you do that, I'm gonna have to show you something.
Alright, cool. Ah, there you are. Learn anything interesting? Creepy little bastard who followed you to Kuganya say he's been stalking you for 5 years. Oh, you're having me on. As if I wouldn't notice. Be serious now. Skilled thief seems to be targeting some peeps. A series of robberies committed by a mysterious thief? Oh, that's just the beginning. That's just the thing. Well done, Grant. Our next order of business should be to track down the Sakembo and ask him about the latest incident. Alrighty, okay, so where am I going?
Okay, so go back up to where the bathhouse was.
Okay. Sash, I can't hear you. I'm in Japan. So, upstairs? Here?
Yep, here.
Okay, okay.
It's a small jumping puzzle. It's barely a puzzle.
Oh, Jesus. I love how it's like, it's a small jumping puzzle. Already, I've, like, messed up the thingy-majiggies. There we go.
So now...
Oh, what?
It's up on that.
Oh, Jesus. God damn you. Hang on. Let me do this again. Alright, so I need to... Yep.
Yep. There should be a little post to...
Oh, yeah, I see it, I see it, I see
Yep.
it. I see it. There we go.
Then up here. Then you want to go up on the furthest post.
Yep, give me a sec, give me a sec. Ah, goddamn you. Come on, I've done the toy tower during the summer festival, the Fairy Light Festival. This shouldn't be this difficult. And I'm doing it on materia of all things. I don't have to deal with like ping. But yeah, I see the puzzle you're talking about. The quote-unquote
There's a nice thing at the
puzzle.
end.
I swear to Christ, if it's a shoe bill.
Oh shit.
Ah, damn it. I got...
We did the same thing.
Yeah, I got to... Wait, are you playing on controller?
No.
Okay, just... I don't know, it just sounds hollow.
No, I just sound hollow regularly.
No. There we go, and then...
Shit biscuits.
Oh, no! Oh, you... I somehow, like, just glided across that. And then I hit geometry on that one.
Yep, and that's it.
Oh, goddamn. And then dunk. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
The nice hidden little zone.
Nice. Alright, so... Oh, barely any height to the... Oh, is it not meant to... Is it a sit? There we go. The Bokayo Inn. There we go. Nice. Chat, I made it. There is... I made it, chat.
Yeah, not a lot of people can find this one. It's nice.
Alrighty, and I'm guessing that one there is just a case of... Hang on a second, let me just see if I can just get my way down and not lose, like, the total. Alright, so... Ink. So that one you need to, like, run across this. And then... Oop. Okay, never mind. What do you...
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get to... Never mind. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh. I tried getting there a harder way. Just want to
Hey,
look
it
out.
worked.
Yep, that's a lookout. Cool. And then... Was there any other, like, thingy-majiggies here? Wiry nonsense? Because the only other one is, like, that one there, which is, like, Kugane Tower nonsense, I believe.
Yeah.
So...
Which, no.
I'm not forcing you to do it.
You can have fun with the Kugane Tower.
I'm not gonna do the Kukane Tower this stream, I can tell you that much. I'll slot that under once I'm up to date. And I'm like running out of things to do on a Saturday. Okay, so follow Nashu, who is down here. Do 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 do. I'm still having a chuckle that Sash is just like, you're not taking him to the tower. He certainly looks like a well-to-do merchant. I'm sorry, a well-to-do merchant? With this mustache? Are you fucking serious? This mustache? Ridiculous. That fiend, that despicable rapscallion, the nerve of him, and to make mock of us. My thanks to you, Master Akabono, for all your help. I swear to you on my honor that this sneak thief shall be brought to justice forthwith. And with that, I bid you good day. Oh, so it is Akabono. Let's go and ask him about the robbery. Watch this guy's. He's wearing a fake mustache. I bet you it's a fake mustache. Oh, there's the Lalafell in the corner, and then he runs away. Forgive me, my lady. In my haste, I did not see you. Are you all right? Shall I summon a healer? Don't worry. I've taken bigger knocks to the noggin than that. Hey, you aren't one of them samurai, are you? Shigure, at your service, my lady. You have my sincerest apologies for the incident. Much as I would like to make amends for my reckless behavior, I fear duty compels me to take my leave. A nefarious criminal is at large, and I must bring him to justice. Oh, that's all we need. Competition. Well, I'm sure Inspector Hildebrand and his faithful assistant won't lose to the likes... Oh! She's part of Inspector Hildebrand questline. That's why it's a blue tick. That merchant must know something important for Shigure to go running off like that. Let's find out what it is. I know exactly what I'm doing now. I just didn't know why it was a yellow tick. I'm sorry, why it was a blue tick. Now I know why it's a blue quest marker. It's because it's to do with the adventures of Hildebrand, which I'm going to be real with you, I've kind of blitzing through. Greetings and salutations, Master Akabono. My name is Nash... Oh, wait. Greetings and salutations, Master Akabono. My name is Nashu, Agent of Inquiries, Extraordinary Inspector, and this is Grant, who's also got a knack for it. Can you tell us about the recent robbery? Ah, Inspector. I had heard rumors that one such as you come from the West. You seem an honest sort, so I will oblige your request. This very morning, one of my assistants found my establishment unlocked, and when he went inside to investigate, he discovered that my most prized possession had been stolen. To make matters worse, in their place, he found this message. You have just been robbed by the Kugane Wolf Burglar. Wolf Burglar. Surely you've heard of his recent exploits. Similar calling cards were found at the scene of other robberies. And now I too have become a victim. A series of robberies committed by a thief with a calling card. Oh, there's no way Inspector Hildebrand's gonna be able to resist the lure of this case. I thought the two of you were inspectors. But it makes no difference to me who catches the criminal. And since the Sakesugumi seem to be at a loss, you will be generously rewarded for any information that leads to the recovery of my stolen property. I wish you well in your investigation. Yeah. Alright. Dun, dun, dun. There we go, alright. All we got to do now is stick with this case and we'll be reunited with Inspector Hildebrand. I just know it. Call it my, my keen inspector assistant sense. Anyway, I'm gonna try and learn more about the other robberies. If you learn anything interesting, come and find me. Right away. Yep, there's the music. Is all in the case. Look out, Mr. Wolf Burglar. Your days of burglaring have... Oh my god. A green rooster. I can't read what that says. That's a ridiculous title. I can't read the made-up language.
Oh, it's Gentleman Hero Hildebrand.
Ah.
I can translate that in my brain for some reason, but I can't learn another language.
Lol. It's been too long since I have a chance to whip up a batch of Nashu's delights. You can be sure I'll be putting those little darlings to good use next time. Oh, bugger. Good thing I've got plenty more stashed away. Oh, hey, bombs. Look at this pervert staring at the women with the big boobies. And there's Manderville in the back. Life imitates art, imitates life. Well, 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 if it isn't Grant, looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, have I got news for you. So, I've been asking you after that wolf burglar fellow, the one that left that cheeky note claiming credit. Can you remember? And it seems he's not quite as sneaky as you think he is. What is happening? Is this the Tease Hormonal Tweens with Beach episode arc? Nah, this is just Hildebrand adventures. He's robbed plenty of rich merchants blind, I'll grant you that. No doubting it was him either. Never failed to leave a calling card, this one. Too proud to leave people wondering for even a moment. But folks laid eyes on him more than a few times. In fact, after taking pictures to all the eyewitnesses, I had enough information to try and sketch a picture of the devil himself. That is a terrible photo. Not bad for a self-trained artiste, wouldn't you say? Don't see how this helps us, honestly. Not hearing a lot of support for this sketch. Right then, back to the drawing board. The metaphorical one, that is. Let's you and me seek... Oh, god damn it. Return to default position. Heading to the tea house. Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun. Oh, look at you. You're a samurai now.
I thought when in Rome, Japan.
When in Japan. All right, so first one we'll go to is the barracks. Dun, 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 dun. You did earlier, Xerix. They're just himbos. All of them. I say, the Kugane wolf burglar? Must you sully my ears with that rapscallion's name as I attempt to take a moment to relax and take in the fresh air? Bah! It's no use. The moment is ruined. I too fell victim to the wolf's villainy, like so many others. Oh, if you had seen the vase before he took it. Ah, if there was any injustice in this world, he would have paraded through the streets and boiled alive in Tinkono. Next we'll head to the hostelry, and then work our way up. There's a lot more to him than that. There's a lot more to a lot of himbos, okay? Himbo works for explaining where we're at. Oh, excuse me. Anyone here? Nope. Iraqi. Too long has it been since I shared a plight with Ijin. How I can't be bothered reading. I can't be bothered listening to the woes of wealthy people. It's a ridiculous venture.
Sir Dragonx88 demands you drink.
The infamous thief. Oh, by the way, I can unpause now the fishing game. My eyes! You gotta sleep now, Dekus? Not to worry. You have a good sleep. I'm just gonna have some water real quick. Ah, that infamous thief! I know of him. For a mercy, he has not seen fit to trouble those of lesser means like me and my associates. Perhaps you thought me wealthy because I patronized the tea house. On the contrary, this is my sole indulgence. Were I a stronger man, I would forgo it. But, alas, the heart will not be denied. Oh, okay, so we go over to here. Ah, here you are. Dig up any interesting tidbits? How have they not voice-lined Hildebrand yet?
I think no matter what voice you give them, it's not going to be the correct one.
Johnny Bravo.
I stand corrected.
Exactly. So, he's getting bolder by the day, is he? Well, if there's anything I've learned from following the inspector around, it's that overconfidence is liable to get you smacked upside the head by your mum and her magic frying pan. That said, we'd have a better chance of catching this wolf if we knew who he was eyeing next. Oh, there goes the police. Gah! 1,000 pardons, young sir. I did not mean to trample you underfoot. Are you alright? Oh, hey, it's the Lalafell that's stalking our, inspector lady. The stalker. Ridiculous. Hey, aren't you the samurai I bumped into the other day? Shiggy something, was it? Oh, we meet again, my lady. I say, you must think me in the habit of trampling my fellow pedestrians. Let me assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. I was simply preoccupied with thoughts of my investigation. That's right. You were after the wolf burglar, too. Got any leads? As a matter of fact, I do. But recently learned of a private auction in which many foreign wares are to be featured. While such auctions are not uncommon in Kugane, it has been some time since the wolf's last struck, and there are rumors that this auction may include particularly extraordinary items. Yay, I'm now in the same time zone as Jason. Much as I would love to converse with you at great length, I really must be going. Until we meet again. Wait, Master Shiggy, sir, can we come too? To the auction? If you like, but I very much doubt you will be able to afford any of the items to be sold. Oh, don't you worry about that. Grant here's got enough money to buy and sell you 1,000 times over. I am frugal with my money in this game, thank you very much. Dun, 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 dun. I only have like 7 million gil. I need to be careful with it. Nashu. Hey, Sash. Do you want to voice Nashu? This venue has been reserved for the private auction. The guests should be arriving any moment now. I remember you. Master Akabono, was it? Well, if it isn't the inspectors, I did not know you could be joining us. I presume you come to keep watch for the wolf, but should you see anything you'd like, know that we have money changers on hand to assist to those who wish to spend foreign currency. I must warn you, however, that should we desire the same item, I am not want to surrender without a fight. Do you plan clothes for upcoming jobs, or just go do that after getting it? Greetings and welcome to you, the
Morse
prosperous...
Amalgam paid me to say 1-800 are you sloppin'?
I don't know. Are you, Morse? Who knows? Greetings and welcome to you, the prosperous...
Oh, prosperous.
The prosperous and esteemed elite. Thank you so much. This day you will be given a rare opportunity to view and purchase, if so inclined, a selection of strange and wondrous items from all across the world. Without further ado, I give you our first, a queer, misshapen fiend captured in the monstrous wilds of Yanzia.
Have a name.
It is none other than the fabled Ratman, an unholy union of man and beast, a demon of legend whose flesh, when consumed, bestows life everlasting. This is a universe where we have cat people, wolf people, dragon people, and like all sorts of different people, and rat people is demon?
This is just their way of selling an aphrodisiac, I suppose. Like shark fin soup.
Eternal life can be yours, ladies and gentlemen. So, shall we start the bidding at 500,000 koban? 600. 700. 800,000 koban. 800,000 koban. Going once. Going twice. Sold to Master Akabono. Let us proceed to the next item up for bidding. I imagine that's his laugh, the mustachio. He's just like, He's not really gonna eat him, is he? Most likely. The statue you are about to see was brought to Gagane from the west, the land of Erozi, to be precise. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, statue does not even begin to describe this extraordinary work of art. It's Inspector Hildebrand, isn't it? Pretty sure that's Hildebrand.
Oh, I'd forgotten this quest line, so I was like, this quest line can't be that stupid. No, you're right.
It is that stupid. I give you the Eorzean gentleman, a masterpiece, nay, a triumph of Western sculpture. Marvel at the intricate details, the features so expertly realized that some may have likened it to a living, breathing man, frozen in time. Well, would you look at that? The statue is a spitting image of Inspector Hildebrand. Could have been sculpted by a fan? Was it a trick of the light, or did that statue just twitch? You mean to say you think it might actually be the Inspector? Somehow frozen by temporal magics? In that case, I've got just the thing to bring him back to the land of the moving.
Not bombs. It's gonna be bombs, isn't it, Nasha? You're a one-trick pony.
Da-dun!
Oh, for fuck's sake, why did... No, I was kidding! I'm upset.
Stay your bomb-filled hand, my lady, I beg of you, lest you slaughter these poor people and bring this marketplace to ruin. I suppose you have a point. It wouldn't be very Inspector-like to blow innocence to kingdom come. How readily she resorts to violence, this woman. I shudder to think what carnage she has left in her wake. Oh, I knew it. That's no statue. It's the genuine article in the flesh. Probably hit his head when he fell from the sky again, or maybe he's gone into hibernation again or something. This bizarre sculpture is in truth a man? Is such a thing even possible? Strange, I don't recall it wearing an expression of sheer terror before. It was rather more serene, was it not? How very perceptive of you. Verily, this is no ordinary statue. It is a heretofore unseen hybrid of sculpture and automaton. Marvel at the way its features change fluidly and effortlessly. Yes, indeed. So, shall we start the bidding for this one-of-a-kind statue at 500,000 koban? 600. 7. 800,000 koban to be paid in full, here and now. Once more, Master Akabono will not be denied with any challenge to his claim to the Eorzean gentleman. We've got to do something, Grant. If we don't, these people are going to buy the Inspector. I bid 900,000 koban. Bah! There is nothing in this world I cannot buy. 1,000,000 koban. Ha 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 ha. Oh, hey, a bomb. Oh, it's a smoke bomb. What is the meaning of this? Oh no, Master Hildebrand is missing. Again. By the Kami, the Eorzean gentleman has vanished. Oh, it's a calling card again. You have just been robbed by the Kugane of Wolf Burglar. That thrice-damned Oni, he struck again! I saw him! That fiend with the wolfish features!
Did you see it?
He took the statue
Did you see
and ran
it?
towards Short Pier.
Did you see it?
I think I saw it, I think I saw it there, Sir Dragon. Do you know what this means? Inspector Hildebrand has been kidnapped! We've got to get after him after the wolf. We got to get after the wolf burglar. For all we know, he might want to eat him like the poor Kiquirin, and we can't have that. God damn you. Why are you like this, Sai? Alrighty then, here we go. Okay, how far? Oh, Short Pier is literally right there. Nice. Sylvester Crystal. Meow. Oh, you followed me, I presume. Have a mind to pursue the wolf burglar as well? Of course we are. He's got Inspector Hildebrand, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let some two-gill thief eat him. Are you perchance referring to the Eorzean gentleman? That hideous statue? I dare say no one in their right mind would try to eat it, but that nonsensical fears notwithstanding, I should be honored to work with you to catch the wolf burglar. This man here claims he saw him board a boat with the statue, and heads towards the Ruby Price. 'Twas a sight I will not soon forget. Never before have I seen a Lupin carrying a twisted mockery of a man on his back. Never again will I expect. Too bold was that fiend this day, in seeking to claim such a conspicuous prize in broad daylight. He has left a trail we can follow. Come, let us make haste to the Ruby Price. Hi there, melancholic nomad. Hi there, welcome to the stream. If this is your first time here, I don't normally do the Final Fantasy XIVs on a Monday. Normally I do it on a whatsamahoozy, on a, oh, god damn it. Okay, what's the easiest way to get to the whatsamahoozy thing? Okay, cool. Yep, we'll take the ferry dock, and that should take us to the Ruby Price. Hopefully I'm going the right way. Ugh, excuse me. Oh, you're ahead of me, aren't you?
You don't know that.
I see your samurai right there. Yep, that's your
Could
samurai.
be any samurai. That could be any Rogadin.
No.
Oh, I think it's just walk forward here.
Oh. Yep, it is. Was just browsing while waiting in a queue for a dungeon. Searched Australia in the tags, and you couldn't pass up watching a himbo. Nice, thank you so much. We're probably gonna go into a dungeon at some point as well, knowing my luck. Surely one of the watchmen here will have seen the Wolfman and his stolen statue. Thank you so much for the follow, oh melancholic nomad. Alas, I couldn't say I have seen such a thing. Since the withdrawal of Garlean forces from Doma and the Red Ruby Sea, there have been a significant increase in domestic traffic. Accordingly, we have been instructed to wade through smaller vessels leaving our waters of absent cause. This Lupin you seek probably received no more than a cursory glance. I see. Thank you for taking the time to explain, and pray forgive me the interruption. We shall continue our search elsewhere. The question is, where else should we search? Who else has reason to keep a close watch on these waters? Oh, how silly of me. The Confederacy has every reason to note the comings and goings of even the smallest vessels in the Ruby Sea. Their very survival rests on their ability to extract payment for safe passage. The so-called Ruby Tithe. Sakazuki is where we must go. Any traveler who does not wish to be raided and relieved of their possessions must journey there first and make the necessary overdues. Ah, goddammit, my leg. I might not be able to sit for much longer. Ding, dong, zoom out. Where are they wanting me to go? Oh, okay, so they do want me just going to... Yep, alright. Hey, check it out, I now have a car. Okay, fine, you get your tiny airship.
Mimi.
Cars in my fantasy game. There we go. Meow. Dun, dun. Searching for a bandit on a boat, you say? As far as I'm concerned, the only bandits are those who refuse to pay the tithe. Like that one fellow I spotted not long ago. Why didn't I stop him, you ask? Because he was dead! Aye, standing motionless in his skiff, paying no heed to the waves or the water. A dead man drifting. If it is one thing to threaten a living man, but what could I possibly do to stop a dead one? Nothing. That's what. So I took the only reasonable course of action. I let him be. I am not one to consort with the dead, but if you are, by all means, follow the man to the Isle of Becco. I'll remain here and do my best to forget what I saw. Oh, I see how it is. Hang on a second, hang on a second.
I feel sorry for this dog.
Does the dog not scale?
I don't think it does. It absolutely doesn't.
It does not scale. Well, I feel like the Lalafell would have, like, the easiest time. Yeah, it doesn't...
I'm gonna break this thing's back. I'm getting off it.
Alright, let me get my car, then. Like, join me.
Okay.
I know where I need to go.
Number 2. Are we there yet?
Wait, what the fuck? Why is it sending me over here? Oh my god. Are you serious? I have to talk to you to find a dead guy? The bloke belonged to none other than the Kugane wolf thief. Core, what luck. Heading to something or others. Let me do my thingy-majiggies, please. You're jealous of the regalia now? This regalia has now been... Like, this is the third time the regalia has been available, and it was on the third go I was able to get it. Like, I wasn't here on Final Fantasy 14 when it was first shown off. There was a second time during Shadowbringer's, like, patch content time, but I didn't get through A Realm Reborn in time to, you know, go through this questline and get the car, and I was really upsetties. But then when I heard, oh, the car, like, the crossover event for Final Fantasy 15 is coming in again, I was like, right, let me just double check how much MGP I needed and everything like that. Is it available? No, it's not available now. It's what we have available now is the Final Fantasy 16 crossover event. So you can get Clive's outfit and Torgal. Oop, overshot it.
Also, thanks for the gummy bears in the glove box.
It's so silly that, like, this car is always to scale. It's kind of funny, because, like, Rothgar's and Rogadin's are, like, you know, quite big for it, but then you've got, like, Mikote's, like, Sash sits in the front, and she barely sees over the dash. It's so funny.
Lalafells have to stand on the seat.
They do, and I laugh every time. Hark! Over there! A wolf! Or at least someone who's got big ears and a long fluffy tail. Aha! We've got him now! You've been out of this game since 2021. Yeah, you missed out, because I think it was was it 2 weeks ago that the crossover event for 15 ended?
Something like that.
So, it seems the wolf burglar has caught by the very people that they were trying to catch him. I don't think that's the wolf burglar. That's just a furry. Kami forfend. This is no wolf burglar. This is a man dead who yet moves. A restless spirit bound to this mortal coil by burdens of the soul. I beg your pardon, good sir, but my soul carries no such burdens. Indeed, in death I found rather more liberation than I had in life. More purpose and meaning and brotherhood.
Oh, he's a monk.
You're one of the gentle dead men. But what are you doing so far from Eorzea and the others? As I live and breathe! In even further reaches, I find myself reunited with Master Zombibrand's compatriots. I too must confess some curiosity as to how you come to this place. But since you asked first, as unbelievable as it may sound, We heard rumors of an island deep in the Siren Song Sea, said to be home to a host of undead individuals, not unlike myself. Ours being a rather lonely existence, we resolved to dispatch an emissary to the isle, myself being the logical choice once again. Ah, truly. Well, that would explain why the myriad skeletons we found were devoid of unlife, as it were. That said, even if they were as disagreeable a lot as you claim, I should thank you to stop killing every last undead you encounter in your travels. Anyway, having failed in my mission, I was at a loss for what to do next. The island was abandoned, and Eorzea was ever so far away. Just then, I felt it. A familiar tingling in my rotting flesh. Aye, there was no denying it. I had felt the pull of our leader, Master Zombibrand. His aether called to me, and I was duty-bound to answer. So, I followed the trail, and it led me to this place. Core, then it's no coincidence. The inspector and the burglar that stole him must be somewhere here on this island. Good sir, do you still feel Inspector Hildebrand calling to you, even now? Can you lead us to him? As surely as I can crack open a hapless merchant's head and feast on the goo inside before you say go. Follow me. Ellie is gonna get her PC back too, and she's a Lalafell. I don't know who Ellie is. By the way, I've been meaning to ask, what's with the wolfish getup? It's not the sort of thing a gentle dead man usually wears, though it's quite fetching, I've got to say. It warms my dear heart to hear you say so. I received it as a gift from a traveling artist. When I explained to him how difficult it was to converse with the common man, he fashioned it for me, believing it would serve to soften my otherwise terrifying features. And so it has. But enough talk. Master Zombibrand needs us. You've been doing A Realm Reborn over again on a new character, helping a friend who's on the free trial. The new character is your first Lalafell and Dragoon. You renamed them Minin Estinian. Lol. Cookie for a bookie. Here's your cookie, bookie. Nothing I have heard makes even the slightest bit of sense to me. But no matter. If this misshapen undead wolfman can lead us to the thief, I shall trust him wholly. Nice. Time for bestest boy. Bestest boy time. Bestest boy! Cookie for Jason. Yes! Yes! Master Zombibrand is close! We are nearing upon him. And the wolf burglar at last. We will bring that bastard to justice! You're back from shopping with Quaggles? Nice. Good work. Hi, Quaggles! Hey, look, that looks like an actual wolf man. Wolf burglar, you have nowhere left to run. Surrender. Ah, so they finally caught up to me. Core, he looks exactly like my sketch. Your campaign of thievery comes to an end this day. Aye, the day that Bakufu will have their man. That is to say, their Lupin. Stop, damn you! The inspector's still not snapped out of it, which means it's time for a triple serving of Nashu's Delight, Dango style. Yeah! It's gonna blow up someone else entirely different. bombs! Shut up, you stupid statue! Fuck me, those are bombs! Idiot, get rid of them! Get rid of them before you kill us both! That was brilliant. Just... Whoom. They disappeared, amazing. Oh, wait, there's Hildebrand. And... there's the Lupin. Hildebrand is a himbo. He'll be fine. Help! Grant! Nashu! Anyone! Grr. I suppose we ought to save the inspector.
Why would you want to save him? He has plot armor. You said this.
Don't worry about the inspector. He survived a trip back from the Dollar Mall, so this is nothing. Let's get that wolf burglar instead.
Why is Nashu speaking sense? That's not okay. What?
What? Okay.
No, it's not okay. What the hell is going on anymore?
I told you before, wolf burglar, you have nowhere left to run. Fall, on the other hand. If that's how it's gonna be, then fall it is. Uh-oh. Okay, that's bullshit. Never thought I'd come this close to getting caught. Suppose it's my own fault for trying to nick a hefty prize like a statue. But if the statue ain't even a statue, then there's no reason for me to stick around, is there? Better luck next time, thief takers. Hi there, Queen Kaiju. You've missed out on some very fun antics. There was like an inspector who was pretending to be a statue. A cat lady threw a bomb. Ah, the nerve of that villain. Cookie for Queen Kaiju Pixel. Oh, there's Hildebrand. I say, Grant, I have come to expect such cold, calculating behavior from dear Nashu, but not from you. Hooray! Inspector Hildebrand is back. Nothing like a brush with certain death to get you back into the game. Am I right, Inspector? What manner of sorcery is this? The Eorzean gentleman, this statue stands before me, speaking and gesticulating as if a living, breathing being. I trust I need to remind you, I too am capable of such motions despite neither living nor breathing, but more to the point, Master Zombibrand is no statue. Quite right, he's an agent of inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire. Good sir, by your garb, I gather you are a samurai. Am I then correct in assuming we are in the Far East? Oh, ho, 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 ho. As I wake from gentle slumber and find myself in a foreign land, who should I be greeted by but a Far Eastern fan? But ho, what is this? Already my keen inspector's sense has alerted me to the presence of a petitioner in need. I must away for honor and justice and a hard-boiled egg. Wait for me, Inspector. You know I can't run that fast. Master Zombibrand looks to be his old self again. Wonderful. Simply wonderful. It is enough to bring a tear to this gentle dead man's eye. Or it would be if I weren't, you know. But much as I would love to join you in your adventures, I must return to my brothers. I pray you watch over and keep our undead overlord safe. I feel like I should look into a facepalm counter. Maybe for your own streams, yeah. So, in Eorzea, a man may be an inspector extraordinaire as well as a zombie overlord. Truly, yours is a land of many mysteries and strange customs I dare say I will never comprehend.
Well, he is the Warrior of Light.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm the extraordinaire as the Warrior of Light. Hildebrand isn't a Warrior of Light.
I'm afraid he is.
What?
That was shown in the level 50 quest. So you know how the sword was stuck in the stone?
No, I don't remember this.
Oh, yeah. It didn't activate for you. It activated for him.
Oh. While I regret that we were unable to apprehend the wolf burglar, I am glad that this chase has seen you reunited with your comrade. Come, let us follow him and see where his keen senses lead. Ridic. And it sends me back to... Nope, it just leaves me here. What the shit? Speak with Hildebrand. Oh, okay, so we're not that far away. Cool. Oh yeah, and that's Heaven on High. Did I not tell you I had caught the scent of a case? And here it is. I give you the quest of the kidnapped Quiquirin. Simply put, this adorable little fellow, dearest friend, was abducted by a dastardly fellow in a nearby city of Kugane. We sail on ships as sailors from East Aldern Trading Company. Dr. Kugane docks to unload goodly goods, when goodly merchant comes and offers tasty feast to me and my friendly friend. By the Kami, did that Ratman just speak? Quiquirin, not Ratman. Rude, man. Why does no one know Quiquirin? Always demon. Demon with lucky flesh. Hello, Fat Blue Dragon. Welcome to the stream. Greetings from the Fat Blue Resort. Greetings from the Fat Blue Resort. Greetings. Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is Grant. I'm a variety himbo streamer. Normally, I have like some sort of backlog that I'm going through in my streams, a mixture of, new and old games. While I might be going through Yakuza, like, at least once a week. Saturdays, I normally do the Final Fantasy XIV, but I'm deciding to do Final Fantasy XIV this evening, because I had nothing better to do. I had lacked in my planning. Joining with me in the chat is, Velk, who is also in Final Fantasy XIV.
Evening.
Evening. So yeah. We go with goodly merchant, all alone, many turns.
We're back. We're back with the big belly.
Oh.
I swear to God, this is just peak. This is absolute peak, especially like just with that.
Content warning: fat furs and real bellies.
This is absolute peak.
How was the art?
Yeah. This is how you use the green screen. Not with a fucking ass.
How
now,
did you find
just so you
me?
can imagine warring some people. That's peak.
Thank you for the clip shout out, Jason. We go with goodly merchant, all alone, many turns, left, right, left, very confusing. Then, bad men grab friendly friend. Species Salad Mallory, thank you for the follow. Perfect clip to use. Lol. That's the most Ferg clip ever. I wouldn't know, but it's apparently your top clip in the last month. Alright, gotta skedaddle though. Need to buy groceries. Have a fun stream. Not to worry, Fat Blue Dragon. Thank you for dropping in. So yeah. And yes, we do clip shoutouts from time to time. And that one was your top clip in the last month. So, I should have seen that. We go with goodly merchant, all alone, many turns, left, right, left, very confusing. Then, bad men grab friendly friend, put gag in mouth and bag on head. I run back and run, and they run too, and then I jump into water. It would seem that the currents carried him to the shores of this island, but I have yet to ascertain the motive for why anyone would want to kidnap a hapless Quiqueran sailor. Because they do not know or do not care that he is a Quiqueran. He passes for a rat man of far eastern folklore, the flesh of which beliefs bestows everlasting life. An Eorzean sailor with most unusual features, an increasingly albeit hideous statue of Eorzean make that was in truth a man. I dare say we have already met our goodly merchant. We must return to Gugane and confront this criminal at once. He may have abducted others from faraway lands to sell at an auction. The fiend. At the very least, we know he sold this Quiqueran friendly friend. We've got to save him too. Right as you are, my lady. We shall see the wicked punished and the innocent set free. Yes, yes, I was just about to say that. Well said, you. Alrighty. Ding. Alrighty, horse. Oh, he's back in Higanshi. Fuck it, let me just teleport. Boom. Alrighty. Also, Cactar. Alrighty, so we need to go over to the Ruby Bazaar. Will be our quickest way of getting there. Here we go. So yeah, so you'll just be across and down here. Kami, strike me down! The Eorzean gentleman is alive! Hearken to me, merchant, your reckoning is at hand. For the crimes of kidnapping a Quiqueran sailor and selling him into slavery, I hereby place you under arrest. Huh? I should hope I would remember doing something so reprehensible as that, but more importantly, who are you to level such accusations, much less place me under arrest? You're not of the Shekasugumi, a common ronin, are you not? A common ronin come from the countryside looking for work. Work I so generously provided when I hired you to guard my auction. An auction you failed to defend against a thief who stole a priceless piece. I say, what audacity. That self-same piece stands before you, with the Quiqueran who escaped your kidnapping attempt as incomprehensible proof of your misdeeds. I, Hildebrand, agent of inquiry... I missed the rest of it because I accidentally right-clicked. And yet I do, Inspector, was it? Whatever authority you may possess in Eorzea is not recognized here. Only the Sekisugumi can compel answers and arrest criminals. And with that, I bid you good day. You need not answer to them, but you will answer to me. We had our eye on you for some time, my friend, but alas, all good things must come to an end. The wolf burglars' meddling merely delayed the inevitable. We have all the proof we need. Now, do yourself a favor and come quietly. Or don't. And do me a favor. Segure, owing to the efforts of you and yours, we can finally bring this charlatan to justice. For that, you have my deepest thanks. Thank you, sir. That you would favor me with such kind words is a great honor. I can only hope that this goes some way towards... However, that you failed to inform the Sekisugumi of the wolf burglar's crime, despite being present, and instead pursuing the thief on your own, is inexcusable. I cannot in good conscience admit you to the Sekisugumi at this time. Such reckless disregard and thirst for personal glory are traits I will not suffer in our samurai. Dun, 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 dun. A thousand thank yous for saving friendly friend. Warier and warier we will be next time. No more following goodly merchants into dark alleys. I owe you an apology. Like the merchant said, I am no more than a common ronin. My pursuit of the wolf burglar have been, from the very beginning, independent of the Sekisugumi of any other authority. I came to Kugane to join the Sekisugumi, but was judged to be unworthy. Unable to find gainful employment as a samurai elsewhere, I struggled to make ends meet. And then, when I was about to renounce my dream and return to my village, I learned of a notorious thief. A thief that targeted only the most wealthy and influential. A thief that I might bring to justice and thereby earn the approval of the Sekisugumi. Say no more, my good samurai. Your earnest nature and passion for the law have won me over. I swear to you, here and now, I, Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, shall help you scour all creation, from the deepest pits of the seven hells to the very pinnacle of the heavens, for the Kugane wolf burglar, and we shall start right this instant. Ah. Ah. I'm still not quite sure what to make of that man, but I suppose I should be grateful for the help. Alright, hand in this quest. Grant, was it? I should thank you for joining me in this endeavor. Perhaps more so than the others. Their help is of questionable benefit, whereas yours seems rather more reliable. The wolf burglar is not to be underestimated. Lester! What did you do with my shirt? Where is it? Thank you for the hyper himbo, though. I greatly appreciate it. He is a cunning, clever foe, as evidenced by the way he escaped. Sheer passion and determination will not be enough to catch him. Which is to say that, while I value the assistance of the inspector and his assistant, I believe cooler heads will prevail in the end. To wit, yours and mine. I, too, may be prone to fits of passion, but I should like to think it is nothing compared to that of the Eorzean gentleman. Done. Oh, hey, another cutscene. Inspector Hero Hilberd. Hildebrand will return in The Blade Mislaid. There's gonna be a bomb, isn't there? Oh, nope. Alrighty. I think that is going to be it for tonight. I'm gonna call it a night here. So let me just get the music going in the background again as I exit the game from here, because I can do it from within a whatsamahoozy thingy-mabob. Head back into the chat. And that is going to be it. Velk, thank you for joining in with me for a little bit of the Final Fantasies. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, good.
So yeah, all right. before everyone leaves, we're gonna need to look for someone to raid. I know Dazzy is online right now playing some Yakuza 0 from the looks of it. Scribbly is doing something.
What if we held hands as a treat?
No. I don't know what Kusaki is doing. Alright, let's have a look. Who else is online? Doig Swift. Animation Breakfast Club. Bulbasaur, Dest the Wolf, Elias Strong. Alright, let's go for Kezi the Wolf. We're gonna go with another Australian himbo, okay? Looks like they're in the middle of playing Legend of Zelda the Twilight Princess, so we're gonna go raid into them. So I would love for you to join in with me. Oh my goodness, look at all these people in the chat, in the fighting chat thingy-majiggy. Alright. Thank you once again for the raid, Fat Blue Dragon. I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for coming along in tonight's stream with all the craziness. I'm glad I was able to get through my taxes in the first hour, and then we were able to do some Final Fantasy XIV, and it was relatively productive, even without doing MSQ stuff, which is reserved for Saturday nights. Tomorrow is going to be Baldur's Gate 3.
Furry Cures 1221 paid me to say go suck a lemon.
You go suck a lemon. Alrighty then. So yeah, that will be it for tonight. Tomorrow night we're going to be going through D&D, where I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 with Code the Yoshi, so I'd love to see you there. This will be our raid message for our going into the next channel, Himbo Raid. Show us your cutest guys and gals and non-binary pals, or prepare to get swole. I hope you'll join in with me on that one. If you don't have the emotes, that's okay. You're welcome to use any others. Otherwise, probably couldn't fit it in your shirt anyway. Not many will. Otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are, and I'll hopefully see you all next time. Bye for now.